Hello, welcome to a special different kind of briefing today. As you might notice, I don't have a tripod yet, so this will have to do. I'll just be doing handheld for today. But this is a special briefing because I'm going to talk a lot about the Midwest and the East Coast, and I don't usually talk about these areas since I'm based in the Bay Area in California, but some very significant weather coming up for the East Coast, and what I'm going to focus particularly is the cold blast, and maybe I'll even talk a little bit about snow as well, but we're expecting a significant blast of cold air well into the southeast, potentially even to parts of Mexico and the Caribbean. Very, very cold air making its way very far south. So what I want to start out showing you is the ensemble mean of pressure height anomalies on the European model. And what this is basically is, it's kind of an average or a blend of projections from 50 different members of the European computer model with initial atmospheric conditions tweaked. There is the deterministic run, which is based on the conditions as we best understand them today. And then there's the ensemble, which is this average of 50 different members with the initial conditions slightly tweaked, and you take the average of that. So it's a more reliable forecast, especially as you go past a week or so. So what we're looking at here, let's put this into motion, starting out today as we go into the new year here. Just these next few days, we're gonna have this kind of troughing pattern still out west, with still a little bit of ridging out east, at least until you get to the 30th, 31st. And then as we go into the new year, you notice big ridging building out west. There's a little trough that cuts through the Pacific Northwest and across the northern states here. And then look at what happens as we go into January 9th and January 10th, is this big trough sets up. We have kind of an initial trough here, but it's a little further, it's to the east. What I mean is it's over the eastern shoreline. And then we have another bigger trough that sets up, and it's a little further west. It's more over the Midwest. Maybe even some of the Great Lakes, carving down into the southeast. And what's important to notice is this creates a pattern where storms can come up and over this ridge out west, and then dive south here, and they dive. Typically, they'll dive from this area here, the northern plains over Minnesota and such. Dive all the way south to the southeastern states, the deep south here, Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, North Carolina, Florida out here. And then they ride up these low pressure systems. They pick up moisture off of the Gulf here, and they ride up the coast. And when there's enough cold air in place here, they can bring major snow to the East Coast. So let's start out by looking at the, let's look at precipitation, what that might look at. Let's pull the deterministic model. Let's do the latest run of the deterministic that we have. And so we're gonna go into, this is a warm storm that comes in on the 30th for the East Coast, nothing much to speak of. And then look at, as we go past the new year, here there's another warm storm potentially here in early New Year's Day. Maybe some snow for the inland. The East Coast will be wet, snowy inland. And then here we go, as this big trough sets up, we get more waves of energy here. And look at this, we get this major storm potentially lining up here. It's a big snowmaker and even ice maker for parts of the Midwest. And then This could be a big snowmaker for the East Coast as well, depending on exactly how this sets up. Gonna have a lot of cold air in place. Even have snow potential into Texas here on January 8th. Look at that. I mean, this is still a projection. At this point, this could still change, but it's a strong signal. I mean, it's something to watch because we've been seeing this kind of pattern show up from run after run. You can start calling that a strong signal. So that's what we're looking at in terms of snow. Let me just look at, I want to show you temperatures now. Let's start out with the temperature anomaly at 5,000 feet. And so, see, it was going to the new year, a lot of warm air, or warmer than average air, I should say, on the East Coast still. And then look at this colder air starts to push in as we go into New Year's Day, as we go into the 2nd. And then behind it, behind that first shot of cold air here, pushes through around the 4th. Look at this second shot. It starts on the 6th, pushing down. Look at this blast of Arctic air into the way down into Texas here and parts of Florida. And actually, if you look at the run prior to this one, it was going even further south. You had temperature anomalies, significant temperature anomalies. This blue and purple here, this is Arctic air. And this is coming straight down from the Arctic as this big blob of warm air, warmer than average air, is forced over the Arctic regions. That cold Arctic air gets displaced, and in this case, because of the pattern we're seeing, it's getting displaced straight down into the United States, deep into Texas, Florida, even Mexico, parts of the Caribbean here, as you can see. Look at that. Look at the Western Caribbean getting in on this blast of cold air. Just to give you an idea of the temperature projections we're looking at here, this is just one computer model run, and this, I will show you how this has already changed. But the 0Z European run for today, this technically last night is when this ran. This is showing temperatures below -10 Fahrenheit all the way down to Missouri, Indiana, Ohio, like the state of Ohio, well into the negative teens. This is actual temperature, this isn't even just wind chill. I could put wind chill up. Those numbers are going to be even more drastic, but you're looking at actual temperature of around 0 Fahrenheit for Atlanta, around 16 for Gainesville, 22 for Orlando, 39 Miami, 51 Key West, 49 for, I think this is Freeport, Bahamas, 50s here for the Nassau, Bahamas area. Like, a lot of the Bahamas will be in the 40s and 50s. This is really cold air making its way really far south. Let me just put the wind chill on there. You'll see even values below -20 for a lot of the Midwest and the East Coast here. And down into Florida, you have widespread wind chills in the 30s and 40s here. This is really cold air. I mean, way south of New Orleans, you have that freezing, even temperatures, you have the freezing line south of of New Orleans potentially. This is wild, to say the least. And then of course this has already changed. Look at the more current run for this exact time frame. Not quite as cold, not quite as impressive, but still cold nonetheless. Not as close to record breaking as that other run, but hey, still down to 50 all the way to Miami. 61 for Key West. Still could be 50s for the Bahamas. That's still pretty cold. And that could still trend colder again. Run to run, when you're this far out, a lot could still change. And just remember that 22 number for Orlando on the 0Z run. If you take, yeah, see, this is when we had, oh my goodness. Yeah, this is 22 for Orlando here. So look at the last 14 years of data for Orlando. The coldest temperature we see here, 28 on December 14th, 2010, and then again on January 18th, 2018. That's the absolute coldest we've seen in the last 14 years, at least as far as this data goes here. I could go further back, but I mean, we're looking at potentially what could be, if that particular projection verifies, we could be seeing the coldest there in at least 14 years, probably more than that in Orlando. That's really significant. We're definitely going to want to keep an eye on that, see what happens. Because, yeah, look at that 20, look, it's even 20. It's even reading a low of 20 degrees on this meteogram of the 0Z Euro here for the Orlando Executive. Okay, that's for Orlando Executive. So Orlando Executive, I think Orlando International is what we were looking at for the other one. So this might be why it's even colder. Oh my goodness, like this will be historically cold if this verifies. So I'm gonna be keeping an eye on that. Anyways, I'll leave you with this image of the just insane blast of cold air. This wild blast here that we're seeing all the way into parts of the Caribbean. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you were able to get something out of it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.